The email hit my inbox like a sucker punch to the gut, the subject line screaming in bold, "Termination of employment, effective immediately." It was 9:12 a.m. on a drizzly Tuesday, the kind where the Seattle sky hangs low and heavy, pressing down on the glass walls of our high-rise office like an unspoken threat. My coffee mug slipped from my fingers, shattering on the linoleum floor with a sharp crack that echoed through the open-plan cubicles. Hot liquid splashed across my worn loafers, soaking into the socks I'd bought on sale last month because, God forbid, I splurge on anything nicer. $50. That's what I'd asked for. A measly $50 raise after 3 years of grinding through code marathons, pulling all-nighters to patch their crumbling infrastructure, and saving their asses from data breaches that could have cost millions. And now, not worth $50, the HR drone had sneered in our meeting yesterday, her manicured nails tapping impatiently on the conference table. Fired. Just like that. My chest tightened, a vice of rage and humiliation squeezing until I could barely breathe. Colleagues averted their eyes, pretending to type furiously, but I felt their pity like acid rain. I staggered to my desk, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like a swarm of angry hornets. My hands trembled as I logged into my workstation one last time. Force of habit, or maybe denial. The screen flickered to life, displaying the dashboard I'd built from scratch, lines of code weaving through the company's $67 million cloud system, the digital backbone of Apex Dynamics, a tech giant that peddled AI solutions to Fortune 500s while treating its engineers like disposable parts. I'd poured my soul into this. Nights blurred into mornings, my girlfriend Sarah leaving voicemails I ignored, my back aching from hunching over keyboards. For what? To be discarded like yesterday's bug report. The resentment boiled up, hot and bitter, tasting like bile in the back of my throat. How dare they? I thought, fingers hovering over the keys. I could delete it all right now. Wipe the servers clean, watch the empire crumble. But no, that was too rash, too obvious. The fantasy flickered. Alarms blaring, executives scrambling, their smug faces paling as stock prices tanked. A dark thrill shot through me, mingling with the heartbreak. Was this who I was now? A vengeful ghost in the machine. "Alex, you okay?" Mark's voice cut through the haze, low and tentative. He was my cubicle neighbor, a lanky guy with perpetual 5 o'clock shadow and a habit of sharing bad dad jokes during lunch breaks. We'd bonded over late-night debugging sessions. Him complaining about his wife's pregnancy cravings while I vented about Sarah's growing distance. Now he leaned over the partition, his eyes darting to the security guard already hovering by the elevators like a vulture. I forced a laugh, but it came out strangled. Peachy, Mark. Just got the boot for daring to value myself at more than minimum wage. My voice cracked on the last word, betrayal slicing deeper. Mark had been in that meeting too, nodding along with the higher-ups. Had he known? The doubt wormed in, cold and insidious. "You hear anything about this beforehand?" He shifted uncomfortably, his tie suddenly fascinating. "Nah, man." Came out of nowhere. "But hey, you'll land on your feet. You're the best dev here." The words rang hollow, laced with that corporate politeness that masked self-preservation. I searched his face for a tell, a flicker of guilt maybe, but he just patted my shoulder awkwardly and retreated. Alone again, the office hum morphed into a mocking symphony. Keyboards clacking like gunfire, phones ringing with deals I wouldn't close, the distant whir of the coffee machine I'd fixed last week because I was too busy. Sensory overload hit me. The stale air thick with printer ink and cheap cologne, the gray carpet scuffed from endless foot traffic. I packed my things mechanically. A framed photo of Sarah and me at Pike Place Market, her smile genuine back then. A half-eaten protein bar. My notebook scribbled with system vulnerabilities I'd flagged but been told to ignore. Cost-saving measures, they'd said. Hypocrites. As security escorted me out, the elevator descent felt like plunging into an abyss. Rain pelted the lobby windows, blurring the cityscape into a watercolor of betrayal. My phone buzzed. Sarah. Heard from Mark. Coming home early. Her text was curt, laced with the exhaustion of someone who'd waited too long. We'd been together 5 years, but lately, it was all arguments about my workaholic tendencies. Her dreams of starting a family postponed indefinitely. "This job is killing us," she'd said last night, her voice breaking. Now it had killed my career. I typed back. "Fired. Be home soon." No emojis, no explanations. The walk to the bus stop was a blur, puddles splashing under my feet, each step fueling the storm inside. Humiliation burned. How would I tell my parents, scraping by on pensions? Resentment festered toward the executives in their corner offices, sipping lattes while deciding fates like gods. An obsession crept in. I knew the system inside out. Back doors I'd left for testing, unpatched exploits. What if? Home was a cramped one-bedroom in Capitol Hill, walls thin enough to hear neighbors' Netflix binges. Sarah was waiting, her curly hair tied back, eyes red-rimmed. She pulled me into a hug, but I stiffened, the anger too raw to melt. "Tell me everything," she said, guiding me to the couch. The fabric was worn, threads pulling where I'd collapsed after shifts. I spilled it all, the meeting where I'd mustered courage to ask for the raise, citing my contributions. The algorithm that boosted efficiency by 40%, the firewall that thwarted a ransomware attack. They laughed, Sarah. Actually laughed. Said the company was restructuring, and I wasn't essential. The word stung like a slap. Her hand squeezed mine, warm against my clammy skin, but doubt flickered. Was she relieved? No more late nights, more time for us. "I'm so sorry, babe. We'll figure this out." Her voice was soft, but I heard the undercurrent. Worry about bills, our lease expiring soon. That night sleep evaded me. Sarah's breathing steadied beside me, but my mind raced through labyrinths of code and consequence. Denial first. Maybe it was a mistake, an HR glitch. Then fantasies. Storming back in, exposing their shady practices. Offshore accounts I'd glimpsed in logs, corners cut on security to pad bonuses. Doubt followed. Was I overreacting? Jobs come and go. But the planning seeded itself quietly. I slipped out of bed at 2 a.m., the floorboards creaking underfoot, and fired up my laptop in the dim kitchen light. The glow cast shadows on the peeling wallpaper, a makeshift war room. I remote accessed my personal cloud drive, where I'd backed up snippets of Apex's codebase, just in case. Not theft, precaution. My fingers flew, mapping vulnerabilities. An outdated API endpoint, a misconfigured database with admin privileges I'd never revoked. Fear gripped me. What if they traced it? Prison. But the cold resolve hardened. They deserved it. For every overlooked email, every denied PTO, every team player platitude masking exploitation. Morning brought guilt. Sarah made breakfast. Eggs over easy, toast charred just how I liked, her way of comforting. "Applied to a few places already," she said, sliding a plate over. Her optimism clashed with my simmering rage. "Thanks," I muttered, but inside the moral conflict raged. Revenge felt justified, but at what cost? To her. To us. I kissed her goodbye as she left for her nursing shift, the door clicking shut like a countdown timer. Alone I dove deeper. Subtle hints emerged. An anonymous forum post about Apex's instability, whispers of insider sabotage. Was I capable? The obsession grew, tendrils wrapping around my thoughts. By noon I'd sketched a plan, not destruction but a calculated collapse. A worm that would burrow, wait, then overload at peak hours. Poetic justice. Their greed crashing down. Tension built slowly. That afternoon, a call from an unknown number. "Alex, this is Carla from HR. We need you to return company property. Laptop, keycard." Her tone was clipped, no apology. "And sign the NDA reminder." Suppressed rage bubbled. "Sure," I lied, hanging up. They thought I was done. Well, I hacked a burner email, sent an innocuous query to their support line, testing backdoors. It worked. Heart pounding, I closed the laptop, sweat beading on my forehead. The apartment felt smaller, walls closing in. Sarah came home exhausted, collapsing beside me. "Talk to me," she urged, sensing the storm. I deflected with half-truths, but her eyes searched mine, uncovering layers. "Don't do something stupid," she whispered, as if reading my mind. Guilt twisted the knife. Was this betrayal of her trust? Days blurred. I feigned job hunts, but nights were for scheming. Mark texted, "Miss you, bud. Things are chaotic here. System glitches." Smirk escaped me. Early signs. I'd planted a seed script, nothing traceable yet. Suspense mounted. Would they notice? Inner turmoil peaked. Fantasies of triumph warred with fear of ruin. One evening, Sarah confronted me. "You're distant. Is there someone else?" Her voice trembled, heartbreak mirroring mine. "No," I said, pulling her close. "Just processing." Lies layered on betrayal. But resolve solidified. They fired me at 9:12 a.m. By 10:04 a.m. tomorrow, their empire would fall. The clock on my laptop ticked to 9 a.m., the cursor blinking like a heartbeat in the dim glow of our bedroom. Sarah had left for her shift hours ago, kissing my forehead with a worried frown. "Get some rest," she'd said, her nurse's scrubs rustling softly. Rest? Impossible. The plan was set, a digital guillotine poised. I'd spent the night refining the code, an elegant virus disguised as a routine update, exploiting the very flaws I'd warned them about. It would cascade. Overload servers, corrupt databases, erase backups. Not total annihilation, recoverable but crippling. Costly. $67 million in lost revenue. Downtime, client exodus. They'd feel the sting I felt, amplified. My hands hovered, slick with sweat. Doubt crashed in. What if it backfired? Logs could lead back. Prison Orange. Sarah visiting through glass. But resentment overpowered. Their betrayal, my humiliation. I hit enter at 9:12 a.m. sharp. Symbolic. The script deployed via proxied VPN, vanishing like smoke. I paced the apartment, floorboards groaning under my weight. The rain had stopped, but fog clung to the windows, muting the city sounds. Distant sirens, honking horns, life marching on. My phone buzzed, news alerts. Nothing yet. Slow burn. That's how I designed it. Subtle at first. Emails delaying, dashboards lagging. Then escalation. I imagined the office. Mark frowning at his screen, IT scrambling, executives barking orders. A dark satisfaction bloomed, but guilt shadowed it. Was I no better than them? Moral grayness gnawed. Revenge or justice? Obsession had twisted me. Nights haunted by what? Sarah's words echoed. "Don't do something stupid." Too late. By 9:30, the first ripple. A text from Mark. "Dude, everything's glitching. You hear about this?" Innocuous, but tension spiked. Did he suspect? I replied casually. "Weird. Good luck." Heart racing, I monitored dark web feeds, proxy logs clean. The apartment air grew thick, coffee bitter on my tongue. Sensory details sharpened. The hum of the fridge, the faint scent of Sarah's lavender shampoo lingering on pillows. I sank onto the couch, mind replaying the firing. HR sneer. Not worth $50. Fury reignited. They deserved this. 9:45. Alerts exploded. Tech blogs buzzing. Apex Dynamics outage. Major system failure. Stock ticker dipped 5%. I leaned forward, breath shallow. Cinematic. Like watching a thriller unfold, me the unseen director. But inner conflict raged. Elation mixed with fear. What if innocence suffered? Mark's pregnant wife, colleagues' families. Layers peeled. My resolve cracked, doubt flooding. Call it off. Too late, the worm was burrowing. The door rattled, Sarah, home early. Panic surged. But no, just wind. Relief. Then resentment at my paranoia. Phone rang. Unknown. I answered warily. "Alex. This is Detective Ramirez, Seattle PD. We need to talk about Apex." Ice in my veins. "How? Traced already?" Sure. "What's up?" Casual but voice trembled. "Company reported a breach." Your name came up. Recent termination. Her tone was neutral, probing. Suspense peaked. Heart thundering, room spinning. I don't know anything, I lied, suppressed rage bubbling. They blamed me preemptively. Betrayal deepened. We'll need you downtown. Blick. The walls closed in, atmosphere oppressive. I grabbed my coat, mind whirling. Escape? Confess. No, finish it. At 10 o'clock, more alerts. Apex chaos. Clients fleeing, losses mounting. $67 million system teetering. Bus to precinct. Rain resumed, droplets racing down windows like tears. Passengers oblivious, but I felt exposed, every glance accusatory. Inner thoughts fractured, justification, they fired me. Versus guilt, Sarah. Moral conflict climaxed, revenge's cost. At precinct, Ramirez waited, sharp-eyed, no nonsense. Sit. Interrogation room sterile, fluorescent hum mocking. Where were you this morning? Home. Job hunting. Half-truth. She slid photos. Screenshots of code snippets. This look familiar. Denial faltered. Coincidence. But sweat betrayed. Then twist. We know it wasn't you. Not alone. Confusion. Your girlfriend, Sarah. She accessed the system last night. What? Heartbreak shattered. Impossible. Logs show her IP. Nursing credentials. She interned at Apex years ago, remember? Backdoor from then. Flashback. Sarah's early home texts, her worry masking something. Hidden motives. She'd confessed months ago about resenting my job, but this? Betrayal reversed. Her revenge for my neglect. Or protection. Confrontation. I stormed home, rain soaking me. Sarah waiting, eyes guilty. Alex! You did this. Rage, humiliation anew. Tears streamed. I saw your plans. Tried to stop, but it escalated. I wanted them to pay for hurting you. Us. Layered. Her obsession mirrored mine, moral gray. We both culprits. 10:04 a.m. alert. System collapsed fully. But poetic justice twisted. Police at door, arrests looming. Embrace amid chaos. Heartbreak, resolve. Consequences unexpected. Bond forged in ruin or shattered forever. In custody, reflection. Revenge's cycle. Shocking payoff. Not triumph, but mirror of betrayal. Cold cell, but warmth in truth. We burned together.